Hello, everybody. You've tuned into the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Public Information Office. Thank you for being with us today as we get the roadshow kicked off. I'd like to thank the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids for their continued support of the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'd like to thank Tom Trial, behind the scenes with us again, back in moving 100% and putting us back on the YouTube channel of the Indiana State Police. Make sure you go to there and see all the shows that he has on there. And he has a lot of history also that he's putting on the YouTube channel for the Indiana State Police. So a lot of films, a lot of old stuff on there that's very, very interesting that you can pick and choose what you want to see on there. Today I have a very special old friend with me today. Been a longtime buddy of mine and a good friend that we've worked together for many years with the Indiana State Police. Retired Captain Jimmy Durnil from the Indiana State Police, but now Chief of Police at Evansville Police Department. Jimmy, thank you for coming up here with me today.
Thank you, Rich, for having me. I appreciate you being here.
Well, I appreciate you coming up here and talking with us, and we go back a long way, don't we?
Oh my, yeah, a long way, a long way. You saw the majority of my career, actually, so that means you've got a lot of years on now.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we had a lot of fun, didn't we?
Had a lot of fun. State Fair was wonderful, was it not?
It was. We had a lot of good times at the State Fair, and me and you and Joe Watts and Joe and I are talking about that all the time, the fun that we had working there. But tell us a little bit about your past. What made Jimmy Durnil decide, I want to be an Indiana State Trooper?
I had watched troopers around Ellettsville for years and really
Is that
enjoyed.
Where you grew up?
That's where I grew up, in Ellettsville. I graduated from Edgewood High School in 1965 and attended Vincennes University for a couple of years and went in the Navy. And while I was in the Navy, I got to talking to Don Kuster, an old friend of mine, and Fred Hayes, and they encouraged me to apply, and applied for Bloomington City, IU Police Department, and the Indiana State Police, and the State Police contacted me first, and the rest is history. So spent.
Now, where was the academy at then?
Academy then was in Bloomington at the Poplars Hotel.
Really?
Yeah, I just had moved out of the old dormitories there on campus and moved us over to the Poplars.
Was that air conditioned?
It was air conditioned.
It was. The old ones weren't.
The old ones were not. No, it was miserable, I understand, in the summertime. So
now, what was the weeks on that? How long was the academy?
We had 12-week academy.
Okay. And then was it kind of like what we do now? Did you go out and ride with the trooper for so long? Did they have that?
No, they did that after the school. That was some of the first things you did when you went to the district then.
Okay.
After 12 weeks, you end up, right after that, went to a breathalyzer school.
Okay.
And then 6 of us went to Connersville District at that time. Of course, it's closed now.
Yeah. So you started at Connersville.
I started at Connersville.
Is that where Kurt started?
Kurt started at Connersville, yes.
And mentioning Kurt here, I want to bring that in also. Jimmy's boys, and I call them boys, they're men, just under my age, but grew up with me, and we done a lot of work together and a lot of fun times. But Sergeant Kurt Durnil,
right,
the Indiana State Police Bloomington Post, he's the PIO down there. And then Trooper Todd Durnil is CVED, Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division.
And he's enjoying that. Yeah, he's having a good time at that. So
that's great. That's good that they're. So it's a whole family that you brought.
It's a whole family affair. Yeah, my wife just doesn't know which way to turn. Who's doing what? She thought I was out of it for a while, and I got right back in it. So.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little more about that. So you went to Connersville, and how long were you there?
I was there 11 years.
Wow.
Made a squad leader at that point, and then transferred to Bloomington in 1981.
Okay.
And from there, then when you remember the High Performance Mustangs, I think you were part of that program at one time. Were you not?
Did get me in that. That was a great time. That was another
you worked
fun
for me
event.
a little bit there too. So, and at that point, then I was promoted to first sergeant, and that's when I got to go to the FBI Academy, which was a fantastic 3 months for me in Washington D.C. at Quantico.
Do you still maintain a lot of contacts with that?
Every day, almost. Yeah, that's a little bit of exaggeration, but monthly, weekly. Yeah, I just talked to my roommate last week. Hadn't heard from him for quite a while, but we had a nice talk. So it's a great interaction.
And that is a lot of that, isn't it? Just to get the contacts to know around the country.
Right, just knowing who to call and what they've gone through, and they can lead you through a lot of problems.
Yeah. So you go to the FBI Academy, come back. You're still down at Bloomington?
I'm still at Bloomington. Got, again, promoted to first sergeant. And then in 2000, Superintendent Mel Carraway asked me to come up and help run the records section in at headquarters. And that was a interesting 5 years to go through the records section and see how they handle how we handle things, and going from the handgun permits to records on arrest and things like that. We had to store those.
That was kind of something out of your bailiwick too, wasn't it?
Well, my bailiwick, yes. Yeah, that was a big learning curve for me. And Major Karen Butt was my supervisor at that time, and she helped me quite a bit to make that happen. And then Colonel Pryor came back for a while, so had some good supervisors back there. And I enjoyed that too.
Yeah, well, you got something you hadn't done, I'm sure, in the past, and brought some new experiences with you. So you were there for 5 years?
There for 5 years, and then Superintendent Weitzel asked me to go back into the field and take over the area commander's job in Area 4, which at that time was Connersville, Versailles, Seymour, and Sellersburg.
Okay.
And I had that for 5 years, and I actually retired then from the department as far as uniform in February 2010 on a Thursday. And then Colonel Phil Parker hired me back on a Monday as the dispatch supervisor for Area 3, which included 25 counties and 4 dispatch centers, and that was quite a job.
So your lovely wife thought, okay, he's finally getting out of this. We're going to have some time alone. We're going to have some vacation time. We're going to be able to get out to ourselves. And you were off for a grand total of 4 days.
4 days. I was off 4 days. But she's expecting it. She knew I did well. That's my first time flunking retirement. And I stayed with the dispatch center for almost 5 years and took off the winter of 14-15 and didn't do too well. Had some heart issues in April and then Ellettsville made a change with their department there and approached me in October to take over the chief of police in October 15. So I jumped right back into it and been enjoying it ever since.
So let's jump back here a little bit on your when you retired from the department as an enforcement person. So you come back civilian. You were a civilian employee then. Okay, but you were supervising all the dispatch centers. And that had changed quite a bit, hadn't it?
Oh, yeah. It combined 4 different posts at that time, Putnamville, Bloomington, Terre Haute, and Evansville into one center.
Yeah.
So we had 25 counties, had 200 and some troopers and detectives to dispatch, and it's quite a task for the dispatchers to get used to.
Never been done.
Never been done before. We had dispatchers living north of Putnamville dispatching people west of Evansville. I mean, it was a hard process to go through.
Well, it's a challenge because I know, and you work in the road, and me too. Back when we were on, you could pretty much knew who was calling by their voice.
Correct. Right.
And the dispatchers knew whose voice it was, and they didn't have to. But this changed all that, didn't it?
Yeah, because and the dispatchers knew your family, knew your wife, knew your kids, knew the problems you were having. Knew basically the area you're patrolling in. And now we get somebody that's never been in the county that they're actually dispatching to. So we tried to do a ride-along program to get to help out, and that helped some with the Jasper and maybe the Putnamville district. But Evansville was so far away that they spend so much time traveling, they only get a ride a couple hours once they got down there. So, but it did help some.
So this was the first thing that you did after you retired and done that for 5 years. So were you thinking about going somewhere else when you were approached by Evansville or by Ellettsville, or did that just happen to come along?
It just came along. Yeah, I was looking for something. I didn't do too well the winter of 14-15.
Yeah.
I didn't have much to do. And, after being involved in everything from personal injury crashes to state fairs and traveling with IU football, it was just a kind of a down winter for me. So it was God's stepped in and gave me something to do.
Good. Well, again, you're listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. My special guest today is Chief of Police of Ellettsville, Jim Durnil, and Jim is a retired captain from the Indiana State Police, and also has 2 boys that work for the Indiana State Police down in Bloomington Post and work out of that area. We're talking about how Jim's coming along. We worked a lot together as we worked through our careers here, and still see each other quite a bit and with the boys. But so you come into Ellettsville. How long have you been with Ellettsville, Pete?
About a year and a half now. October of 15, and I'll have a year and a half in next month.
So all these years that you've had with the Indiana State Police as a trooper, and then a sergeant supervisor on the squad sergeant, and first sergeant you supervised, and then up to records and back. Tell us a little bit about the differences, about the likes of that with smaller town.
Well, the smaller town, of course, I've got 11 full-time officers, counting myself, and I have 3 part-time officers. And a part-time officer, and I wasn't aware of it until I got the job. A part-time officer is an actual fully accredited police officer and works part-time.
Okay.
So we've got 30. We've got 2 30-year and 1 25-year officers that can come in and work the road for us. So we're paying them not a high wage, but we're paying them a good wage to come do that. But anyway, we've got that access to them. And also, I have 7 reserves. Reserve officer has the same type of training that the full-time officers have, but they do it. They volunteer their time. So they fill in for shifts. We've got 4 of the 7 can work a shift by themselves.
So your officers that are full-time, of course, 24/7 down there.
24/7.
And then you have. Are you supervising the dispatchers also? Is that
we don't have dispatchers. We have our dispatch is done through the county dispatch system, and also we have a school resource officer.
okay?
That's there at our Richland Bean Boston School Corporation. That we the school funds half of it, and the town funds the other half.
So your dispatch is taken care of through the county.
Through
You
the
don't have to
county,
worry about
yes.
that.
Yeah.
And then your 11 officers, including you, plus the 3 that are part-time.
Right.
And then your reserves are all your responsibility.
All my responsibility, yes. Yeah, I went from like 250 people, though, in Area 4 down to 20. now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Also, I have administrative assistants. It's quite well. Leah Figley, she's just a wonderful young lady that has really come along and helped us quite a bit. We had to redo a lot of our SOPs and rewrite those. Not that the other ones were wrong or bad. They were just
You just got to stay up to date.
We stay up to date, and we did that with forms and that type of thing.
What is the biggest difference that you saw in the big department, small department? What's your biggest challenge?
I think just the fact that the public can see you continually. Where as a trooper, you had a chance to maybe get out on the interstate in the 4-lane and get away from the public. Whereas in a town of 6,200 people, everybody's watching. Not that they're doing anything bad or anything, but they, if you do something good, that they tell us about it. If something goes wrong, they tell you about it too. So,
what's your jurisdiction down there, Jimmy?
Jurisdiction is just in Ellisville.
So how large is that?
6,200 people.
Okay. Mileage wise,
55 miles. I think roads in Ellisville.
And schools, and how many schools?
Schools has 1 high school, 1 junior high, 3 elementaries.
Wow.
So it's 2,850 children.
Wow.
I'm also president of the school board down there. So.
As if you didn't have enough.
Oh yeah, I'm just my wife says, "When's it going to end? When's it going to end?"
She needs to get a job. She needs to get out some.
Yeah.
Doretta needs to say, "You need to pull your weight, Doretta. You need to get out and do something. I've done it all these years. You need to grab out and do something."
She calls herself EV1A now. So.
So your administration, where did you bring your chief or your assistant chief in?
Assistant chief is Jay Humphrey. He's been there for quite a while. He's assistant chief of operations. Tony Boland, who was the chief that stepped down, he is in charge of administrative and PIO work. So he does a great job for us with the PIO. He's just a Kurt Durnil and a Rich Myers all wrapped into one. So he does a good job. And then we have 2 squad leaders, Craig Davis and Russell Harris. Both of them have close to 20 years experience on. So we have a good staff, and they've accepted me quite well.
Don't you?
Right.
That's good. So have you got new guys coming on too?
We have one. Our youngest fella is Alec Leggio, and he has about 3 years on. So that's the youngest we have right now. So
Canines?
No canines yet. No, they're asking for one, but I'm not sure if I want to go there or not. So
kind of
somebody even asked for a motorcycle the other day. I thought,
I know a guy that can hook you up with that. yeah, I know a guy. I know a guy that had done some motorcycle stuff.
I know. Yeah, you've done it all. Yeah,
I know a guy that real well that's done some of that.
I know.
Too.
Yeah, Todd's mentioned that several times.
Well, I tell you what, Jim, we're down to our last minute here. We've talked ourselves in away very quickly, but I appreciate you coming down today and kind of wandering through our back work together and the times that we've had. And I appreciate all that you've done for me through my career.
Thank you so much. You've been a great friend and a great friend of the family. We thank you so much.
Well, Godspeed to you, my friend. I know you're not going to stop. You're just going to.
No, I can't. I can't do it. Yeah.
Well, again, you've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. Been speaking with my good friend and buddy, Jim Durnil, Ellisville Police Department, retired captain of the Indiana State Police, who has been throughout his career, continuously worked. I don't know that he's never not had a job.
Could I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I just want to bring to attention of I'll have 50 years marriage in this summer with my wife,
God
Doretta.
bless you.
50 years.
We'll talk to you later. Roadshow's out.
All right.